The action 1 and 2 states are for any tile the player may have that can perform an action. As an example, a weapon. If you want to have a weapon, you have the option for a primary, secondary attack. This would allow it to do both if you have those enabled, but each one is a different range box. So as if, for instance, state 1 may be a ranged attack with a weapon. State 2 may be a smaller range box for something that's an attack with a melee object. And the player would simply switch between the two based on the object that was coming within that range box. The distance to pause shooting, what this means is how far do you get before you stop shooting. Distance being that 0, this is just saying that, for instance, if I go to 10, I'm saying it's 1 tile, 2 tiles, 3 tiles out for it. Distance to pause moving, so there's two separate. You can actually pause it for this one, and then you can also say pause it for the moving. That way the player will get to a certain spot in shooting. Instead of going from here and walking all the way to where the player is, you can say that, okay, distance to pause on the move, I don't want the player to get any closer than 20. And then even if they're doing a follow, when they get to the follow, if they're in the action state, they just stop at 20 and then they continue shooting if there's a distance that's within that same range. Alright. Enable line of sight means that the player actually has to be, it's going to send a raycast out, a line out. If it can see the other player, then it will. It has 3 options: in range, target in sight, closest can be heard. So any of those, if this is enabled, you can then use that with it. And that's going to be state action 1 and 2.